Hi, my name's Brisa, and in this video I'll be talking about my research project for 23-2024 school year at QSI Pápa. So my research problem was, how does eating breakfast and breakfast composition affect concentration in adolescents? I chose this topic because I've always been really interested about nutrition and about eating breakfast, and personally I've always eaten breakfast every morning because when I get up the first thing I want to do is eat because I'm hungry. But a lot of my friends, they don't eat breakfast that often. I wanted to know why and also how eating breakfast affects our bodies. I hope that with this information, schools would be able to educate students about breakfast and about how it affects them and if it can help them or if it's hurting their concentration. And if it does help them, that they would be able to implement school programs that would be able to provide students with breakfast if needed. So my participants were the 12+ group here at QSI Pápa. It's about 26 students. Only 20 of them got permission from their parents to actually participate in my research in the form, and there were 6 students in the actual experiment. They're from multiple countries like Hungary, Bulgaria, Norway, the United States, and many more that I have not listed here. The main group was 14 years old. That was 25% of the participants, but the age range is not based on who I picked, it's only who's attending school right now. Or for my experiment, I did a survey and I did an actual experimental study. So for my survey, I sent it to all the 12+ students who had gotten permission from their parents to do so, which was about 20 students. And I told them beforehand, I came into the class, I kind of explained the survey, and then they all filled it out, and that was done completely electronically with Microsoft Forms. That's also how it was analyzed. A lot of the graphs and stuff were done on Microsoft Forms. And the experiment was explained to the students in that form, and the students in secondary 1 and 2 were able to choose if they would like to participate. If they said yes, then there was about a week before winter break last year that I did testing, so 5 days of testing. It was analyzed using Excel for the correlation coefficients, and then for all the graphs that I created, that was done using Microsoft Forms. So starting with the results for the form, for all the 20 students that answered my form, 85% of them eat breakfast always or some of the time, with only 15 never eating breakfast. This was surprising because even though they eat breakfast most of the time, a majority of these students still feel that breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. So when asked to voice their opinion and choose either, I think breakfast is the most important meal of the day, or breakfast is not the most important meal of the day, 65% of them said it was not the most important meal, and 35% of them said it was. For the memory test, so in the actual experimental portion of my study, where participants were read 10 words out loud and instructed to write down as many words as they could remember afterwards, there was no clear association with the number of words participants remembered and the glycemic index of the food provided. So the bolded numbers show the daily averages, which ended up being highly varied. Participants did best on day 4, where there was no food given to them, but the next best average was on day 2, where the GI was medium, the memory test, and the Stroop test. The Stroop test was used to test participants' concentration and ability to ignore unnecessary inputs. So this is an example of the slide that includes the Stroop effect. Participants were told to say only the color of the word, not the text on the screen. So for example, they should have said blue for the first word, and the second word they should have said red. Participants' results are shown in the table on the screen. In general, students increased their score as the week progressed. However, they did not increase linearly, and some students experienced random decreases as well. The correlation coefficient between the days, which corresponds to the different breakfast types, and the number of words read was 0.22, the Pearson correlation coefficient, which is a low correlation. While some students did better on the day with no breakfast, others did a lot worse, and this variability is shown by the low correlation coefficient. The students also mirrored this conclusion in their reflection slips, where everyone felt differently about their performance even after being given the same food. Some of the other correlations look like they should have been more significant, but the implications are insignificant. So for example, it was found that test number and the number of words read had a correlation of negative 0.82, which is a very high negative correlation. However, this correlation simply proves the effectiveness of the Stroop effect, as it demonstrates that the increasing test numbers are related to a decreasing number of words read. So the further on the slides that they got, the less words that they're going to be able to read, because the test is designed to get harder as they move on. There were a few limitations to this data, such as size of the study group, since there were only 5 students at the end of my experimental week, and reliability of the results due to some students being able to memorize patterns in the data as the week went on. Nevertheless, based on the low correlation coefficient for the Stroop test and the irregularity of the memory test, it was concluded that breakfast had no effect on the participants' concentration and performance. Additionally, performance on the memory test did not indicate a specific pattern, as the day participants had the best average was the 4th day, where they got no breakfast, but the day with the second best average was the 2nd day, where the GI index was medium. Even though breakfast was proven not to improve concentration in this study, researchers and scientists still widely agree upon its nutritional benefits and ability to prevent obesity. Because of this, schools should make an effort to educate students about nutrition and especially the mental benefits of breakfast. Even if students feel like they work better without breakfast, they should still be educated and aware of its effects. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video and know a little bit more about my research project I did here at QSI Pápa.